chair now recognizes Representative Harder.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, I've heard you and President Trump repeatedly state, even today, that you support putting the American worker first. That's great, which is why I'm struggling to understand some of the actions by your department recently. Under your leadership, the Department of Labor eliminated funding for several critical worker protections. One of the most alarming decisions was defunding the Wage and Hour Division, the team responsible for enforcing basic child labor laws. You didn't trim this office, you erased them completely. Let's be clear about what that means. This division enforces the laws that protect kids from working dangerous jobs. Laws that say a 7-year-old doesn't belong in a coal mine. These are no-brainer protections for kids. You cut this division knowing that child labor is actually getting worse, not better. In just the last few years, child labor violations have skyrocketed 88% across the United States. In 2023, your own department found 13-year-olds cleaning razor-sharp saws and handling toxic chemicals in a meatpacking plant. It's terrifying stuff. You and Elon Musk labeled this enforcement waste, fraud, and abuse. So, simple yes or no question, do you stand by labeling child labor law enforcement waste, fraud, and abuse?
We did not erase any of the Wage and Hour Division, so I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to there. And as far as the...
You've eliminated the funding for it.
Not a Wage and Hour Division. We have not. And as far, if you're talking about, child labor is so important to me, and it always has been. We will not tolerate any child labor violations, and we will crack down and actually double down on any practices where there is child labor violations, and we will fulfill the mission of the Department of Labor to do so.
I think the rhetoric that I'm hearing is not at all matched by the budget or the work that we've seen from Elon Musk and DOEs that have eliminated funding for enforcement of basic child labor laws. I'd recommend that you take a look at what your department has done over the last couple months, because the reality is the enforcement for child labor has gone down in the name of saving waste, fraud, and abuse. It doesn't feel like waste, fraud, and abuse to actually make sure that our kids are being protected. What does seem like waste, fraud, and abuse is some of the other actions that we've seen happening at your department. For instance, a taxpayer-funded birthday party that you had recently. A bash complete with wine, big screen TVs displaying your face. I imagine the cake was pretty good. Are you planning on investigating that birthday party as waste, fraud, and abuse?
That is fake news. I don't know where you get your information from, but that is fake news.
You didn't have a birthday party?
I did not have a birthday party.
There was no wine or big screen TVs at the Department of Labor?
I am here as an appropriations to talk about appropriations, and you want to talk about fake news.
That is appropriations. That is dollars from taxpayer-funded accounts going to your birthday party.
Congressman Harder, that is not true statement. I did not have a birthday party. So we had a swearing-in party, an official swearing-in party for me and my deputy secretary.
And that wasn't funded by taxpayer dollars?
It was not a birthday party. It was a swearing-in party, and it was welcoming the Department of Labor, and that's who was there.
Well, are you going to be investigating the folks that actually put that wine and put that cake and those screens on TV in the midst of cutting labor protections for kids?
Well, Congressman Harder, I appreciate that maybe we didn't have the conversation to work together. I do look forward to working with you on the issues of the Department of Labor that matter, and that's the workforce development that I'm here to discuss today at the direction of the President, and work with the entire committee here to move forward to honor what the mission is, and we will fulfill our mission with the proposed, right now is a proposed skinny budget. I cannot speculate on the full budget, but we will deliver on that mission.
Madam Secretary, the hypocrisy that I think I've seen so far from this department is breathtaking. Eliminating protections for vulnerable kids, then using taxpayer money to celebrate yourself. So I hope that we're able to see some change. I'd love a chance to work together, but so far the actions that I've seen are not at all matched by the rhetoric.
I understand that sometimes this is important to do. I sat on the other side of the dais. I never had the disrespect for my colleagues. This way, I hope to work with you, and we'll build a relationship so that this doesn't go back and forth. Let's talk about the issues at hand. I think that that's important to do. Rather than this attack mode, it doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't do it to you, and I don't expect that you to do it to me as a secretary nor as a former colleague.
Well, I wouldn't have a taxpayer-funded birthday party, so thank you, and I yield back.